this time.
Make it so.
It's me, Mario.
I'm Batman. Strong am I with the Force.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
You're a wizard, Harry.
And welcome to World War G, episode 147. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
Another Monday show.
Another late night Monday show.
Late night Monday show. Yep.
Yeah. Who wants to be watching like Monday Night Football when you could be listening
not
to
me. This? I'd rather literally be doing anything else.
Including record a podcast.
Yes. I'd rather pull out the hairs from my testicles with rusty pliers than watch Monday Night Football.
Seriously?
Yes.
To that extreme?
Yes.
Wow.
I would rather do anything than watch any sort of football.
Oh, man.
But my feelings of football have been well documented.
Yes.
So I'm not saying anything new. Okay. Let's get rolling here. Let's get to it.
Nothing to it. Just
So,
do it.
We are both 90s kids.
Right.
Grew up in the 90s. And along with, the weird fashion with the neon and strange music.
Just look at like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air if
Yes.
you need any type of a reference.
Exactly.
Or Saved by the Bell.
I mean, this is, before your iPhones and, well, the internet was still around, but not like it is now. So not only all that, but we also had cartoons.
The best. Not just cartoons. We had the best cartoons.
Some would say the best cartoons.
Yeah.
And they were always kind of titled like extreme. That's how they would describe them to kids.
They had to catch your attention,
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was extreme. Everything was extreme. And so here are 16 cartoons from the 90s, way too extreme for kids today. It would melt their brains if kids watch these shows today. And it says, from flawless high-definition animation to robust adult fan bases, today's cartoons have a lot of advantages that didn't exist when your childhood favorites were on the air. Despite that, the 1990s cartoons were extreme in a way that separated them from the kid shows that came before and after. Filled with countless animal warriors and ultra-buff soldiers and high-tech armor, the era's cartoons were defined by the over-the-top aesthetic that helped make shows like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and X-Men the Animated Series massive hits. Thanks to the ever-changing tastes of the viewing public and evolving content standards, those radical qualities don't cast that kind of shadow over modern shows. Even though they might seem inherently ridiculous by today's standards, these qualities defined an action-packed era of American animation. So, tell me if you've seen these when I read them off.
All right. Yeah.
Sure you have.
Probably.
Number 16, SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever watched SWAT Kats.
Really?
Well, it came on. Here's what I remember about SWAT Kats. It came on after a show that I did watch, but I really didn't have much interest in it, so I'd always change the channel. Despite its rating success, SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron, see there you go, Radical, was ultimately too radical for its studio, Hanna-Barbera Productions. Created by Christian and Yvonne Tremblay, the show followed two feline vigilantes, T-Bone and Razor. Because, of course, that was their names.
I used to be Razor.
Yeah?
Actually. Or no, wait, no. Wait, okay. T-Bone, I think, was the bigger one of the two. I think I was T-Bone.
Your guess is good as mine.
Because they were mechanics.
Yeah.
And going around, and then they'd fly in these awesome jets.
Who fought crime in their high-tech jet fighter, the Turbo Cat. For 2 seasons, the show aired on TBS and in syndication starting in 1993. Yeah, I don't know what it is about that one, but I never got into it. Number 15. Oh, here's what I also find interesting about SWAT Kats. They wore masks.
Not
Right?
that they really needed to.
Right.
Because they were cat-like masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also, were there other animals in that city? Or was it populated
It was
with...
all cats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because if it was just like those two and like a bunch of humans, they don't need the masks. Anyways.
Yeah. That's like the... Well, okay, what about the Ninja Turtles?
Well, that's to tell them apart.
Yeah.
You know, for the layman.
Okay.
We can tell them apart. But.
And by their weapon that they use.
Well, even I'm talking about like the normal Joe on the street.
Right.
Like, if you ask them which turtle has the side, they go, Leonardo. Like,
Yeah. We need to conduct a
know.
survey now. Probably.
We should.
Yeah.
Number 15, street sharks.
Yes. Jawsome.
Jawsome. It's
I didn't
totally
even,
Jawsome,
I'm not even
man.
reading that off there. I just remember that. It was such a great show.
By any measure, Street Sharks seem like a shameless attempt to replicate the formula that made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles an international hit. Over 3 seasons, starting in 1994, the Deke Entertainment Show followed 4 brothers who were turned into giant, disturbingly muscular sharks created by mad scientist Dr. Peridium. The sharks battled Peridium using a wide array of toy-friendly vehicles and puns like Jawsome.
I actually have the whole set on DVD. And like
Yeah.
the whole series, yeah.
I had a couple of the toys.
Right? The little hand puppet toys? Yeah, because you got them,
put
I
your
think you
hand
got them
in
from like McDonald's.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you go there and you put your hand in these little like rubber things and you can pick up other things with it.
Yeah. Number 14. This one I'm not actually familiar with. Ultra Force.
No, neither am I. Not
Yeah.
really.
Because I'm looking at the picture and it doesn't look familiar. Even though their comic book series only lasted for 30 issues, well, there you go. Malibu Comics, same people who did Men in Black, premieres Super Team Ultra Force, briefly starred in their own Saturday morning cartoon in 1995. The animated series, Ultra Force, lasted for 1 season of 13 episodes. Well, it was its day's Firefly.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were
okay.
kids riding in the streets. Bring back Ultra Force, they said. As part of USA's Action Extreme Team programming block.
Well, the only problem is they didn't have like the forms of media that we have readily available to us. So, you know, they were having to take out ads in the newspaper.
Yeah.
To be able to protest.
It's true.
It was right underneath the obituaries.
Yeah. Bring back Ultra Force. Alright, number 13. Ooh, here's a good one. Biker Mice from Mars.
Oh, man.
Do you remember their names?
No, I don't. I can't say I do.
I was thinking about it today. I just remembered it right before we started recording. It was Throttle, Vinny, and Mojo.
Awesome.
Biker Mice from Mars was one of the more successful shows to pop up in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gargantuan wake. Created by Rick Unger, the Marvel Productions series ran in syndication for 65 episodes starting in 1993. For 3 seasons, the show followed the Biker Mice. Throttle... Oh, I got it wrong. It was Modo. Modo. Throttle, Modo, and Vinny as they tried to save Chicago with their human friend Charlie... Really? Charlie Davidson. Together they fought...
Not to be confused with Harley.
No. I didn't know that was her name. Wow. Together they fought Plutarchians, fish-like aliens who destroyed Mars by using up its natural resources.
I thought they were going to say something, you know, they fought the Miyazaki clan.
Yeah, right.
The Honda.
Number 12. Oh, I've never seen this either, but holy cow, just looking at the picture. Extreme Dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see the picture, they're anthropomorphized dinosaurs standing on 2 legs, all muscular, of course, wearing like combat boots and tiny shorts. And
it sounds vaguely from the picture. It looks vaguely familiar, but I never watched it.
Given the popularity of the 1993 blockbuster Jurassic Park, a cartoon featuring an extreme take on dinosaurs was bound to happen sooner or later. In 1997, Deke Entertainment, there it is again, answered the call with the aptly titled Extreme Dinosaurs as the Dino-Vengers. The stars of the syndicated series were originally introduced during the last season of Deke's Street Sharks. Ooh, they're a crossover.
Oh, that's fantastic.
No, they were what's that called? It's late. Spinoff.
Yeah.
They were a spinoff from Street Sharks.
Wouldn't that be like hilarious at the very last episode? This like meteor just comes flying in. Like,
Takes them out.
This extreme meteor comes flying in, takes them all out.
That's right. Extreme meteor. It comes in on a skateboard.
What?
Drinking a Mountain Dew. No, Surge.
Yes.
After rebelling against their creator, T-Bone, Steggs, Bullseye, and Spike were cryogenically frozen until modern times, and I kind of hate myself a little bit just by reading that. T-Bone, Steggs. Ugh. Number 11, Wild Kats.
Yes.
These I am very familiar with. Long before they became part of DC Comics universe, Wild Kats was one of the defining Image comics of the early 1990s. Filled with aliens, ninjas, mercenaries, and robots, Jim Lee's chart-topping series perfectly encapsulated all of that era's biggest superhero trends. In 1995, the Covert Action Team, oh, that's what it stands for. I never knew that till just now. Jumped onto television as part of CBS's Action Zone programming block. Yeah. I think only one of those characters has survived into the DC universe.
Uh-huh.
And it was the guy with the mask over the like bandana over his face. What was his name? The Grifter. Yeah, he was the only one that I think.
And he's made a couple of other appearances.
Yeah, he was in Flashpoint Paradox, the animated TV show. He showed up. Number 10, Monster Force. Name sounds familiar, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, Universal Studios shaped the foundation of modern horror with its iconic cinematic takes on characters like Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, and the Mummy. You're welcome. In 1994, Universal and Lacewood Productions updated those characters for a grunge era with Monster Force. In that short-lived syndicated series, a group of teenagers with high-tech armor and special powers battled the classic Universal monsters in the year 2020. The far distant strange future of 2020.
3 years away from now.
Yeah. Number 9, Exo Squad. While most of the entries on this list aren't fondly remembered, Exo Squad is often counted among the best animated shows of the 1990s. For 2 seasons starting in 1993, the series chronicled an intergalactic war between humans and Neo-Sapiens, a genetically engineered race of servants bred to colonize space. For 52 episodes, Able Squad, humanity's premier fighting force, fought on the front line using exosuits, high-tech mech suits stuffed with exotic weaponry.
What more do you need?
Exactly.
Right?
It's like that whole sentence is just like, just more.
There's like an exclamation point after each and everything, a word.
It's like the guys that created this walked into the producer's office to pitch it, and he was there doing like a line of cocaine, and they were like, exosuits. He was like, yes. They're like, outer space. He's like, yes. Like extreme. He's like, yes. Yeah! Make this. What are we talking about?
His head explodes.
Yeah.
The Kool-Aid guy, Kool-Aid just busts through the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what the?
I'm freaking out, man. Anybody else see the Kool-Aid guy? Number 8. The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest.
This is another one that I did watch.
Me too. In the 1960s, Johnny Quest became one of Hanna-Barbera's most famous adventure characters. After a lengthy development process, The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest premiered on Cartoon Network, TBS, and TNT in 1996. Over 2 seasons, the show followed teenage adventurer Johnny Quest, his adopted brother Haji, their scientist dad Dr. Quest, his bodyguard Race Bannon, and Race's daughter Jessie as they traveled around the world investigating mysterious phenomena. Number 7. I remember these guys. The Terrible Thunder Lizards.
Yes.
While most of the cartoons on this list are action-oriented, some animated comedies were even informed by the extreme aesthetic. One of those shows was The Terrible Thunder Lizards. Created by Steve Holland and Bill Kopp, the show aired as part of Eek the Cat, which is a show my brother and I absolutely loved, as part of the Fox Kids programming block starting in 1993. Number 6. Dark Stalkers.
That doesn't sound creepy at all.
Yeah, right? While it never reached the success of Street Fighter...
Look out! Behind you! The Dark Stalker!
The Dark Stalker! He's extreme! Darkstalkers was another successful fighting game franchise from Capcom in 1990. That's why I recognize that chick right there.
Yeah.
Even though the franchise was defined by gothic overtones, horrific monsters, and scantily clad fighters, it still became a children's cartoon in 1995. Produced by Graz Entertainment, Darkstalkers, the animated series, ran for 1 season of heavily sanitized, kid-friendly adventures. Number 5. Skeleton Warriors. It's another one that's not familiar.
Right?
Long before the White Walkers and the Whites plagued Game of Thrones, Skeleton Warriors brought skeleton-centric combat to Saturday morning cartoons. Produced by Graz Entertainment, the show aired as part of CBS short-lived action... Well, all these were on CBS. CBS's short-lived Action Zone programming block. That's why I never saw them, because I never watched CBS.
We were too busy watching other better things.
I was too busy watching Fox.
Yeah.
That's where my allegiance lies.
Yeah.
During its only season, the cartoon followed the Legion of Light as they battled the evil Baron Dark as his living skeletons. Most of the show's action revolved around capturing the Light Star Crystal, an object that could, among other things, transform those with evil hearts into the titular Skeleton Warriors. My question is, how hard would it be to beat skeletons?
Right? Yeah.
I'm guessing not that tough.
About as difficult as the Foot Clan.
Yeah, they grab you like, oh no, oh wait, they don't have any muscle or anything.
The knee bone connected, you just bash them apart.
Number 4. The Bureau of Alien Detectors. Man, these titles.
Okay, there were seriously some diamonds among the rough. And this is a lot of the rough.
A lot of the rough, yes. Thanks to shows like The X-Files, aliens were all the rage in the 1990s. While aliens had been a mainstay of cartoons for decades, a few new cartoons tried to cash in on the surge in extraterrestrial popularity. One of those shows was the Bureau of Alien Detectors, or BAD.
Oh, jeez.
Produced by Saban Entertainment, the show aired on UPN Kids programming blocks starting in 1996. Wow. Number 3, Action Man. The Action Man franchise began life in 1966 as the United Kingdom's answer to G.I. Joe in the 1990s. Hasbro, the toy giant behind G.I. Joe, took over the Action Man franchise and transformed him into a broader adventure hero. Shortly after the relaunch, Action Man starred in his first TV series thanks to Deke Entertainment, starting in 1995.
Well, back in the day, there was only like 3 channels to choose from.
It's true. For 2 seasons, totaling 26 episodes, Action Man gave the long-running franchise a G.I. Joe-influenced makeover. Speaking of which, number 2, G.I. Joe X-TREME.
Oh, man.
After G.I. Joe, a real American hero, faded in the early 1990s, Hasbro and its new subsidiary, Kenner, relaunched the storied franchise as G.I. Joe X-TREME in 1995. Set in the distant future of 2006, the show followed a new generation of military heroes as they battled the would-be conqueror Iron Claw and Scar, S.K.A.R. The soldiers of Chaos, Anarchy, and Ruin. Wowee. With a largely...
That's a lot to live up to, right?
We are the soldiers of Chaos, Anarchy, and Ruin.
All right.
All right.
One would have sufficed.
I just want to just sit and like drink tea.
Yeah.
With a largely indistinguishable team led by Lieutenant Stone, the show aired in syndication for 2 seasons. And number 1, I think a show that we could talk about for days.
I'm on pins and needles here.
Beast Wars Transformers. In theory, Beast Wars Transformers could have easily fallen prey to some of the worst tendencies of the 1990s cartoons. Ostensibly, the Mainframe Entertainment produced show was about alien robots who turned into animals and battled on a prehistoric Earth. Led by the gorilla Optimus Primal, the heroic Maximals battled Megatron and his Predacons to keep him from gathering powerful crystals called Energon.
Wow. It was like I was taken back.
That's exactly how
he
said it.
Yeah.
Megatron, yeah. Energon. Despite that inherently silly setup, this iteration of Hasbro's Transformers franchise earned fans an acclaim with incredibly sharp plot lines, legitimate emotional stakes, and complex characters. Starting in 1996, Beast Wars aired in syndication and later on Fox Kids programming block for a total of 3 seasons. After its 52-episode run ended in 1999, the show spawned a short-lived sequel, Beast Machines, which is crap.
It was.
While the show's...
Too artsy.
Yeah.
And very stylized.
While the show's CGI-generated animation looks primitive by today's standards, Beast Wars' impeccable writing helped it live on in fans' memories long after the 1990s ended.
Even you just talking about it makes me want to go back and watch them all.
I know.
Right? I seriously related to Rat Trap. He's pretty much my spirit animal, I would have to say. But it was funny because I had a Rat Trap action figure, and I'd watch it with it, and then my brother, he had Cheetor, and then he also had a couple of Optimus Primal, and then I think I also had a Waspinator, and it was just so funny.
Waspinator.
Yeah, it was horrible. And what was the raptor? What's his name? Dinobot. Thank you. He was the most complex character of them all.
Yes, he was.
Because he kept going back and forth, and you never know whose side he was on. And you're like, don't trust him. Don't let him in, Optimus.
But spoilers, at the end, he saves them all.
He does. He
heroically sacrifices himself.
That was actually probably the first time I cried watching
characters died on that show.
Yeah,
legit died
and didn't come back. Yeah,
and didn't come back.
Man, and Rhinox when he went evil, I was so worried that he wasn't going to be good again. And then when they ended up dying, lots of them, I was just I questioned whether there was a God.
I know. My life is empty and barren.
Right. It just and my mom looking at me, and I'm just sit down at the counter grab a cold glass of milk, a couple of Oreos, and just drank my sorrows away.
You tell her to leave the bottle.
Yeah, just leave it. Oh, man.
All right, let's take a break after all that 90s goodness. When we come back, we got a bunch of stories we got to run through here really quick. We got Batman and Punisher and
Netflix, Futurama,
Jared Leto, among all kinds of other things. So we'll be back right after this.
On the historic streets of Ogden, there are two kinds of people, readers and non-readers. Here's where you can find their stories.
Booked on 25th Street, located at 147 Historic 25th Street, Ogden, Utah, 84401.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to our friend Marcy. You can pick up a new or used book, or you can sell your own used books.
That's right, you can get 10% store credit on what they can sell the book for.
Stop in and say hi, or call them at 801-529-7720. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/bookedon25th, or you can email them at marcy@bookedon25th.com, or visit their website, bookedon25th.com.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back.
Speaking of 90s cartoons,
Yes.
something is also coming back with a vengeance. Dun dun dun. Batman, the animated series, will be released as a remastered Blu-ray collection in 2018 from Warner Brothers and Home Entertainment, as announced Sunday afternoon at New York Comic Con. The collection was announced during the Batman animated series 25th anniversary panel with longtime animated publicist Gary Miseru informing the crowd. No details such as a release date or price point were confirmed, but he did say it'll be late 2018. The news comes after 1993's Batman: The Mask of the Phantom, the theatrical Phantasm. Yeah, I remember that one.
That was great.
The
movie.
The theatrical released animated featurette birthed from the success of Batman the Animated Series was released as a remastered Blu-ray this July. Full runs of both Batman the Animated Series and the new Batman Adventures were released as DVD sets in 2008 as Batman the Complete Animated Series. Now, did you watch the new Batman Adventures that much?
Oh, yeah. Watch them all, have them all on DVD.
Right?
Soon on Blu-ray, apparently.
Right? Yeah. Batman the Animated Series debuted in 92 and stands as one of the most acclaimed
Oh my god.
adaptions of comic books to another medium, including winning 4 Emmy Awards. The original series ran from 92 to 95, with follow-up series, the new Batman Adventures, airing from 97 to 99, for a total of 109 episodes. The panel celebrating the show's 25th anniversary was attended by Batman voice actor Kevin Conroy, who we met.
Yes, who we've met.
The new the new Batman Adventures Batgirl voice actor Tara Strong, and Batman the Animated Series producers Bruce Timm and Alan Burnett. That is pretty dang neat.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been a great panel.
Yeah. Yeah, we met Kevin Conroy. I got his autograph on my Batman Season 1 DVD set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you have in a special place.
I do. Where is it? Where did I put that? Huh. I have my Rob Paulson Donatello sign there. I don't remember I put my... Oh, it's probably with my other DVDs.
So, that's going to make it way... I can't believe it's been that long, though. 25 years? since it was released?
1992 it debuted.
Yeah.
We were 7.
Yeah.
7 years old.
Boy, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of New York Comic Con. Actually, go back really quick to Batman. Eventually, we are going to rewatch the entire series. See, I'm putting it on here so people can hold us to it.
Right.
We are going to rewatch the entire series and then do a dedicated episode to Batman the Animated Series. So
right, and we'll break it down season by season, as well as, we'll kind of compile a list together of iconic episodes that you need to watch.
Yes.
If you can't find the time to watch the entire series, then go ahead and watch like these specific ones. And so it'll be an awesome episode. Yeah.
So that is coming. That is coming. Just gotta chisel out some time to watch the entire series. Okay. Like I said, speaking of New York Comic Con, Punisher pulled from New York Comic Con after a Las Vegas shooting. Speaking of which, we do have listeners in Nevada.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys are okay if you're listening in Nevada. Hopefully your families are... Everybody's still okay, and
family and friends and everybody. It impacted so many different people, and it's crazy. I was actually talking about, not to get too much into this, and I know that we try to stay away from politics, but they had those Full Metal jacket rounds. Mm-hmm. That is insane, because it's not only going through one, but it's going through a couple. Yeah,
Yeah. So hopefully, like I said, if you're listening to Nevada, hopefully you guys are okay. We're your neighbors.
Yeah,
we're over here in Utah, so you're not too far away. So,
it still hit close to home.
Yeah. Anyway, Netflix and Marvel have decided to pull Marvel's The Punisher from New York Comic Con following the Las Vegas shooting on Sunday. This was a few weeks ago, obviously. We are stunned and saddened by this week's senseless act in Las Vegas, the company said in a joint statement. After careful consideration, Netflix and Marvel have decided it wouldn't be appropriate for Marvel's The Punisher to participate in New York Comic Con. Our thoughts continue to be with the victims and those affected by this tragedy. The upcoming series was going to have a panel at the New York Comic Con on Saturday, October 7th. Premiere date for the series has not been announced yet.
Do you think it was just because it involved quite a bit of shooting?
That's probably it, yeah. I'm sure they probably would have, showed a trailer or clip or something. It was probably a bunch of guns and bullets flying through the air and people getting gunned down. So,
yeah, it
makes sense. Of course, the internet came out in the trolls came out in droves.
Oh, yeah.
We're upset, calling them cowards and stuff like that. And it's like, it's just a matter of respect.
Yeah, right?
That's all it is.
They did the same thing with the Tobey Maguire Batman. You know, taking the two towers out, that scene where he makes a web and catches the helicopter.
Yeah.
Just out of respect. I know that's a little bit different, but still.
Well, it's pretty close.
Right?
It's kind of the same.
Yeah. I know that they did. Didn't they do something else? I want to say with the shootings that took place in the theaters. Or that one theater.
Yeah.
Around here.
There was a movie that came out I think the month after that called Gangster Squad.
Mm-hmm.
That had a scene where, and you might be able to see it in an old trailer, where it had a bunch of gangsters behind a movie screen that fired out into the crowd.
Right.
And so they went back and hurried and cut that scene out, and yeah,
for good measure.
Yeah, it's just out of respect.
Right,
that's all it is.
Speaking of Netflix, though,
yes.
Some big news in the world streaming today. Netflix announced its first major price increase for the first time since 2014. This change affects subscribers with standard plan, meaning that they can have it on 2 different screens, which will go from $9.99 a month to $10.99, so bumps it up $1. While subscribers with a premium option, which is 4 screens, will have their monthly bill bumped up from $11.99 to $13.99. But don't worry, the raise won't take effect until November. So you've got some time to get in your binging, which is nice because Stranger Things comes out in 18 days.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it does.
We'll be able to binge watch that before the increase, But there is kind of a small ray of hope, is how they worded it. For the current prices, for the people that have like the basic plan, it stays the same at $7.99, which has like a limited like commercials in it, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't do. Actually, when I got Hulu, Netflix is kind of the same way, but when I got Hulu, man, I watched a couple of episodes with limited, air quotes, limited commercials, and man, it was horrible. Like, I couldn't do it.
Isn't it interesting though, now that we just can't sit through commercials?
Yeah.
I mean, even though as kids, that was the norm. We sat through hundreds of hours of commercials.
The only commercials I ever want to see are like the ones during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And other than that, like, no.
Or those early 90s ones that I watched for hours and hours on end.
Because we get so many other, like, forms, we already get it in so many other ways. Mm-hmm. Like, product placement, they already do that in movies, and they already, So we're still going to get it. It's just... Man, I can't watch these commercials. Especially it bugged the heck out of me with Hulu, where it would count down. It would go like 3, and then it would show another commercial. 2.
Yes.
I'm like, don't tell me this.
Yeah.
Like, just let them run.
Like up in the corner be 1 of 5.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
5 commercials. That's like 2 minutes of my life. I'll never get back.
I guess I'll go make a sandwich now.
And it's not like you can just pause it or fast forward it or do anything else. No. Yeah. They went on to say, from time to time, Netflix plans and pricings are adjusted as we add more exclusive TV shows and movies, introducing new product features, and improving the overall Netflix experience to help members find something great to watch even faster, said the $60 billion business in an official statement. And underscored when they are underscoring why the price increase would be taking place. Then they just kind of go on to talk about some of the new shows that are coming out here shortly. But it has changed since the days of them offering up DVDs that you can get in the mail and then have to send back, And it's gone like completely to streaming, which is a good, and I think it's also kind of it's a bad thing for the internet, just because, hear me out, just because there's so much streaming going on, and these cable companies have to keep competitive pricing, and we're watching more and more. Yeah. That it's only like bogging down and making them use more and more data. So they're trying to play catch up, but this actually doesn't really bother me all that much. Yeah. Bumping it up $1.
It's only $1,
right? Which is crazy with how many subscribers they have. But that's seriously a couple $1 billion. Yes, right there.
All right. Okay. Futurama. We all know Futurama is coming to SYFY on November 11th. But don't be excited, though. No new episodes.
Seriously?
Nope. SYFY today announced that it has acquired the hit animated series Futurama from 20th Television in a multi-year non-exclusive deal that includes all 140 HD episodes of the series. Futurama will make its SYFY debut in a special weekend stunt beginning Saturday, November 11th, with the series airing regularly in primetime on Mondays and Tuesdays from 8 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard and Pacific Time, and on Saturday mornings from 8 to 11 a.m. The Futurama acquisition comes as SYFY continues to aggressively expand its genre programming following its summer 2017 brand reboot. Futurama, the first fully animated series in SYFY's rebooted lineup, will join a growing roster of ambitious scripted and unscripted originals and high-profile acquired series and movies that reflect the rich depth of the genre.
I think what they're trying to say there in a nutshell is they need a couple of fillers.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, we're including all this new content, and then you've also got Futurama, which was canceled, then brought back, canceled, then brought back, and kind of, you know, they couldn't decide whether it should stay or not. And it's kind of funny because it's not nearly as controversial as some of these other shows that are even airing now.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty tame.
Oh, it's very tame.
Right?
Very tame, yeah. And speaking of Futurama, if you are a fan of Futurama, I want to recommend a couple episodes of a podcast you should listen to. It's the Nerdist podcast.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do. We recommend other podcasts here.
In the hopes that they will perhaps recommend us. I mean,
scratch your back, scratch our back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Those other podcasts that say, "Oh, you can't listen to any podcast but ours." That's stupid.
Yeah.
So Chris Hardwick, who does the Nerdist podcast, interviewed David X. Cohen, who is one of the creators of Futurama. And they kind of talk about the show and you know, talk about its ups and downs and its history, its cancellation, being brought back, and yeah.
It gives you a fonder appreciation for it.
It does.
Perhaps.
It does. So that also, another episode, just recent episode, they did a radio play of Futurama. They brought all the cast back.
Yeah.
And they did a completely new, fully scripted 2 hours. Or was it 1 hour? I can't remember. Anyway, it was an entire like radio drama, basically, of Futurama. So,
that's pretty awesome.
It was a Futurama drama.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you
watch
like
with your baby mama.
Exactly. So if you like Futurama, you should go check out Nerdist, and you should enjoy that.
Well, while they're checking out that, how about we go ahead and take a break?
Let's do that.
And then when we come back, we've got more futuristic news, some Sonic the Hedgehog, SNES Classic,
and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we'll be back right after this.
Thanks, Troy. Hi, everybody. This is Sean Ray.
And John Irons.
And we're the hosts of Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. We're a show that has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we talk about movies and TV and cartoons, entertainment news, and every show has a different theme.
That's right. We might discuss anything from our favorite bad movies to who would win in a fight between C-3PO and the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. That was episode 41, a classic. You can download that episode and all of our other episodes on iTunes and Stitcher. We're on Podcast Addict and, of course, on our website, cosmicpotato.com.
It's special guests and movie news and geeky nerddom and nerdy geekery and lightsabers and Time Lords and Ninja Turtles all the way down. So check out Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast.
And we're back. So from Futurama to Futureman.
Yes. The first full-length trailer for Hulu's new sci-fi comedy, Futureman, has arrived, and it looks... the first got me when it started to say, like, this story where it's like the Last Starfighter meets the, Back to the Future. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, they're throwing in all these nostalgic things, and it's like, all right. Like,
I would even say, after watching that, meets Ready Player One.
Yeah?
Very much
There's
a lot of... Anyway.
Yeah, So it says sci-fi comedy Futureman has arrived, and it looks like Seth MacFarlane just threw a bunch of stuff you love into a blender, and that's what you get. The series stars Josh Hutcherson from the Hunger Games, PETA,
Yep.
as a gamer who is recruited by time travelers to try to save the future. And at least judging by the footage here, it borrows a call out to elements from The Last Starfighter, Back to the Future, This Is the End, The Mission, travel through time to stop a man who eventually destroys the future, all because he is trying to make a cure for herpes that eventually leads to the downfall of humanity itself. Though the series is obviously wearing its influences on its sleeves in these scenes, Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg look to bring a wit and humor to the material that should make this action-packed homage. Along with Hutchinson, the series also stars Eliza Coupe, Derek Wilson, and Haley Joel Osment. And from what we've seen, it borrows a lot of other stuff as well, like straight scenes. They look like they go back to where Back to the Future was filmed, as well as Pulp Fiction, that diner, and there was like quite a few other places. Yeah, like you said, Ready Player One.
Yeah.
It looks very similar. And I like that Hulu's kind of decided to branch out and to do their own original movies, not just TV shows.
I think Hulu's trying to be like Netflix.
Yeah.
A lot, but
yeah. What did you think of the trailer?
I liked it. I think there was almost too much.
Think it's gonna be like Pixels?
Yeah, look at this reference, and this reference, and this reference.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that's not what it is. But judging from the trailer, that's kind of what it looked like.
Right. And from the trailer, they do want to throw in the bests of everything, but you're kind of worried that that's all it's got.
Yeah.
Because you can make any movie look decent, in a minute and a half.
And look, I like Seth Rogen and Adam, what's his name? Richmond?
Yeah.
I think. Anyway, I like their stuff. I think they're funny. This Is the End, I thought was a really funny show. And
Evan Goldberg.
Why was I thinking Adam? I know, because I was thinking Adam Goldberg.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
From Meet the Goldbergs?
Yes.
Which is a great show. I just caught up on the most recent episode.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic show. Yeah, but all their stuff is funny, so I'll check it out.
For sure.
The Sonic the Hedgehog movie is racing, to Paramount. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie is racing to Paramount Pictures after Sony Pictures put the project in turnaround, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Deadpool director Tim Miller previously signed on to executive produce the movie, based on the Sega character. Miller and his Blur Studio collaborator Jeff Fowler will develop the project, on which Fowler will make his feature directorial debut. A hybrid of CG animated live-action feature, which I think is a mistake. The movie will be written by Patrick Casey and Josh Miller and produced by Neil H. Moritz, through his original film Banner, along with Marza Animation Planet's Takeshi Ito and Mi Onishi. I'm sure
Bless you.
That was correct. Toby Asher will also serve as executive producer. Dimitri Johnson and Dan Jevons of DJ2 Entertainment will also serve as co-producers. The film will look to capture Sonic's irreverent tone and spirit, reuniting him with some of the most revered and infamous characters of the franchise, including the evil Dr. Eggman, playful, mischievous, and quick on his feet in more ways than one. The world's fastest hedgehog is known for his ability to move at supersonic speeds to protect his friends from their enemies. For more than 2 decades, Sonic has been one of the world's biggest gaming icons and a $1 billion franchise with more than 140 million games sold.
Dang.
Wow.
And half of those being from, like, the Sega years.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody else played, like, the... Well, okay. Do they really get to count Sonic and Mario when they did the Olympics?
Yeah.
As their own game? Because I guarantee you if they did, that's probably quite a few of their sales.
Well, I mean, Sonic, he was the mascot of that, video game console, of that whole Sega thing. He was its mascot.
Yeah.
He became Sega's Mario, basically.
More or less, yeah. That's true.
So, I don't know, but I think the whole hybrid with CG and live action, I think that's a mistake. Just put the entire thing in CG.
Right.
Make it a fun cartoon. You don't have to go all Roger Rabbit and make it also live action.
I start worrying about that because then I'm also thinking, the Chickmunks and Yogi Bear movie that they did, and like some of these other ones that it's just like, those were horrible.
Yeah, it hasn't worked.
No.
That formula has not worked.
I can't think of a scenario in which it has.
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the last time I think that has worked. And that was almost 30 years ago, so let's put that to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jared Leto has become the poster boy for immersive method acting and an all-in devotion to the characters that often results in eye-popping or screen transformations, headline grabbing on set provocation. And yet, as the 45-year-old actor told SYFY Wire in New York last week, he rarely ever watches his movies to see the end result. His full tilt preparation and performance, even the ones that grab the big headlines. As soon as you watch it, here he says, as soon as you watch it, that's when it becomes subjective. Leto, who starred in this week's Blade Runner 2049,
which I kind of have a funny story about that. Remind me.
All right. Explained. Let's see. And last year's, he drew widespread coverage for his plunge into madness as the Joker during the filming of Suicide Squad. And despite living as a mental supervillain for all that time, gifting rodents and maybe even used condoms to the cast members and answering only to the Joker, Leto declined to watch the actual movie. I mean, I wish I would have declined too.
Yeah, me too.
Is it too late?
Like, no, I'm sorry, I refuse.
It follows in the path of his admission that he has never seen Dallas Buyers Club, despite it with the Oscar-winning performance. No, I never did, he revealed. I just think that if you watch your own film, it can be too self-conscious. I mean, man, this seems like really snooty a little bit.
Yes, very.
But, of the process, you either like what you did and you're prone to repeat it, or you didn't like it and it can make you self-conscious. I'm not sure how much win there is for me. But I read the script, so I know what's going to happen. The actor has made a few exceptions. Back in 2002, he did watch Requiem for a Dream, where he spent weeks living on the streets, losing 25 pounds for the role. And he plans on a scene at some point, the Blade Runner 2049. Okay, he does make a good point there where he goes on, where he's talking about you either repeat what you've done, but at the same time, I'm thinking all of these athletes that watch film after their performance to see, to criticize, to critique, to try to fine-tune their craft.
Improve.
Right?
Yeah.
And if he's not doing that, does that just mean he's just like, I am what I am. This is what you get.
Well, it seems like more and more with Jared Leto that he's... First of all, he does that whole stupid method acting thing where he doesn't answer to his own name. He only answers to the character's name, which is freaking stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to be a method... Just be an actor. You don't need to be a method actor. Anyway. And then when he was talking about this whole thing where he doesn't watch his movies because, it ruins the process or whatever, I'm like, you know what? People like Leonardo DiCaprio watches his movies. Tom Hanks watches his movies.
Yeah.
Okay? These fantastic Oscar-winning actors watch their movies, all right? You are not better than them. Sorry, Mr. Leto, but you're not.
That, and also you're not just watching it for yourself, you're watching it for these other characters, and so, it's good to see what other people have done and to appreciate their craft and what they've, what they did.
I mean, there are other actors that have gone on record and said, I can't watch myself because they're too self-conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. I get that. But then to go on, like he was saying, like, oh, it ruins the process and you're doomed to repeat what you've seen. And like, shut up.
Well, okay.
Just watch it.
To his point, Christian
hipster
Bale.
Doofus.
Christian Bale, when he went and played Batman.
Yes.
He overdid it, and then they had to go back, right, and have him voice act again. Because a lot of the times what ends up happening is they look at these people, I understand it, they look at what they did in the first one, and they try to replicate that.
Yeah.
And then they either take it too far, they can't find that perfect blend or balance that they did for the first one. So, Dumb and Dumber, those guys.
Well, and I get that, but...
So where do you draw the line? Because
I mean, if that is the reason that you're not watching your own movies, then fine. Then let that be the reason. But keep it to yourself so you don't sound like a douche.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't sound like a hipster douche. And that's what he's sounding like. Anyway, so yeah, it's funny with Blade Runner.
Yes.
I work, some of you may know who listen, I work at a movie theater on the weekends. And one of the jobs we have at the movie theater is every hour going in and checking the movies. Like, we check it right when it starts, just make sure everything runs. And then an hour later, come back in, make sure the emergency exit's still shut, make sure, nobody's being rambunctious or anything.
I've noticed that they do that where they go around making sure that nobody's on their phone either.
Yeah. And so yeah, we do that every hour. Well, with Blade Runner, right at the hour mark, there is a scene with a nude woman.
Yeah.
And I mean nude. Full frontal nude. Okay? And so every time if I have that job and I walk in there, like, oh, hey, look at that. 50 feet in the air. That's awesome. Great. And of course, it's right at the hour mark,
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I have to transition from that to Lego Ninjago. And it's... Yeah.
Well, okay, it's kind of funny because a lot of movies have that same kind of formula. If they do throw in nudity, they usually wait for about an hour because it's like in case people are starting to fall asleep or zone out. That's like,
hey,
hello. Yeah.
Well, hello there. Nice to meet you.
That movie is almost 3 hours long.
Yes.
And I didn't realize it was rated R. For some reason that is
probably that scene.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe a couple F-bombs here and there. I don't know, but definitely probably for that scene. Anyway. SNES Classic.
Yes. Something a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Did Nintendo fix the NES Mini's mistakes? Last year, Nintendo announced the release of its NES Classic Mini. Exciting as the announcement was... Sorry, computer's acting up just a little bit. It was somewhat tainted when hardly anyone could actually get their hands on one. The tiny console has proven to be hugely enjoyable, nostalgic fun. But it is beset with problems that Nintendo didn't seem to notice before launch. The SNES Classic has just been released. Again, this is massively exciting from a nostalgia point of view, but did Nintendo actually learn from the NES release and fixed any of its issues? Well, yes and no. Looks-wise, the console is once again tiny, which is cute, it says here. And it does look like an exact...
You want to make sure that wasn't like you saying it.
It wasn't me. Like, oh, it's so cute. And it does look like an exact replica of its bigger original version.
My mom did say when I first got my Mustang that she said it's cute. And I was just about ready to slap it. You know? No, just kidding.
It's like, well, I got to take it back. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, my mom does stuff like that too, and it irritates me. See, while the NES Mini only came with one controller, the SNES Classic has two. Much better for the two-player games, obviously, including Mario Kart. The big question surrounding the cord length is partially satisfied. The controller cords for the SNES Classic are longer than the NES, which required you to get a stiff neck in order to play, which is true, I played one. But the extra length is still not good enough in our opinion. For many, playing on the SNES will still mean having to sit on the floor, and let's face it, you're not 9 years old anymore. It's true, now we're all old and creaky.
You hear snap, crackle, and pop before breakfast.
We have issues. So, provided you can get comfortable enough, it's on to the games. Really, to the casual gamer, or to someone who's bought the SNES Classic for a retro kick, it's difficult to find fault. There's Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island, Street Fighter 2, and so much more. There's also the previously unreleased Star Fox 2. The title was cancelled back in the day, owing to the advent of the flashier 3D consoles and the N64. While it might seem great to get a chance to play it now, one time will most likely be enough. The problem is, Star Fox 2 is too ahead of itself for the SNES, meaning that the play is jittery, hard to follow, and frustrating. Still, there's a wealth of other titles to enjoy. The CRT filter is good fun, and really makes it feel like you're playing on an old TV. That said, Pixel Perfect mode is easier to follow at times. Oh, so you can change what you're seeing on TV, whether it looks like you're playing on like an older TV or the new one. Oh, that's kind of cool. But yeah, then they kind of go on. And so it seems like Nintendo got a few of the issues worked out.
Eventually, by their next console, they'll have it all figured out.
The Nintendo 64 Classic?
Perhaps.
Isn't that the next one? Wouldn't that be the next one?
Yeah.
That should be interesting.
Although that controller is still the weirdest out of them all.
It is really strange.
It worked great for GoldenEye.
Yeah.
But other than that...
It was an M. Like, why is it an M?
So that you could press Z down below.
Well, I get that, but...
Still.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No, not really.
Okay, so let's take one more break.
Okay.
And then when we come back, we got some stuff to go over.
Some birthdays.
Mm-hmm. Got a story review and kind of an interesting thing that happened to me, and I want to get your guys' take. So,
all right.
We'll be back right after this for the last time.
Are you feeling nostalgic about your music listening needs?
Do you like the tonal quality,
that only a record can provide.
Then go check out Lavender Vinyl, located at 123 25th Street, Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, go talk to Kylie or Blake. They have a large selection of new and used records. They will also buy your old records, maybe the ones that are just sitting up there in the attic, gathering dust. And if you can't find anything, they'll be more than happy to pre-order it for you. Now, you can always find them at lavendervinyl@gmail.com. You can also check out their website, lavendervinyl.com, or give them a call on the phone, like a normal person, at 385-240-0336.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back. Okay.
There were some big birthdays today.
Yes.
In the news. One in particular, Guillermo del Toro. I was like butcher his name, or feel like I'm gonna say it wrong.
Guillermo.
¿Por qué? So yeah, it's his birthday today, and it got me thinking about all the different movies that I've seen of his, and I kind of went through his filmography, and I've seen like 14 or 15 of them, so I've pretty much got a wide range as far as I know what I like from him and not.
Sure.
And we were texting before the episode. You were saying, perhaps come up with some of the reasons why you like this individual.
Yeah.
Because you've got one as well.
I do.
And so I was kind of thinking about it, and I wanted to do like a top 3 favorite movies by him, and then a bottom 3. So, like, front runner for sure, like being the best, Pan's Labyrinth. It came out in 2006, but it is still one of my favorite movies by him. Visually, it's impressive. The story's awesome, and I mean, it's a classic. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. Second would have to be Hellboy, and when I say Hellboy, I pretty much mean like Hellboy 1 and 2, the Golden Army as well.
Sure.
They kind of go hand in hand. They're also really, they're really fantastic. And then finally, as far as third one, I'm going to have to go with like the Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug.
Really?
Yeah. That out of the 3, I liked the best.
Did he directed that?
He did. He did all of the Hobbits.
Oh,
series.
That's right. He did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought Peter Jackson did those. Huh.
And then as far as the bottom of the barrel, because he's directed some like pretty bad ones.
Yeah.
Number 1, Puss in Boots. Yeah, he directed that one.
Oh, the spin-off from Shrek?
Mm-hmm.
I actually kind of like that movie. But
really?
A little bit.
It was kind of cheesy and campy, and
I don't know.
It was like a cat version of Zorro.
Yeah,
like
that's kind of why I liked it, but it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. And then next, did you ever see the movie Don't Be Afraid of the Dark? Came out in 2010.
No, but it sounds familiar.
It's got Katie Holmes in it and a bunch of other random people.
Oh,
in it,
yes.
right?
I did see that.
Okay. That movie, it was really kind of eerie and creepy because they were at this old, like, gnarly looking house that had kind of like a, what would you say? Kind of like a labyrinth out in the yard and like all this like other gnarly stuff. But then you actually see what is inside the house.
Yeah.
Those little teeny minion creature things. They look like something out of Harry Potter. You know? I don't know. They were just cheesy looking. And once you actually saw them, sometimes monsters can look menacing once you see them, but not in this case.
Yeah.
And number 1, like, it goes to Pacific Rim. Man. The acting, I loved, like, the premise. I thought it was kind of cool. And these huge mech robots and stuff, but that acting, I could not get past it. And I went back and watched it again, and it's bad.
I watched it once.
That was enough?
Okay, big robots fighting big monsters.
Mhm.
Great. And that's all I needed to...
And I thought it was so campy where they're just like gearing up for it and give that last hurrah speech, and then he's just like, no, I'll die for you, you know, and goes and gives up his life so that they can have a clean shot.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Well,
it's very forgettable.
I hate to burst your bubble here, but he did not direct the Hobbit movies.
What? That's what it says in his filmography.
I'm in his filmography right now.
Yeah.
As far as directors go, he did not direct them.
He was...
I'm checking produced by... I'm not seeing produced by either.
TVs, The Strain, Troll Hunters, and a couple others. And then it says movies. It's got them in the mix.
What?
I'm not even kidding you.
I don't think that's...
Is he just taking credit for this?
Oh. He did the screenplay. It said he did the screenplay of The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, and The Desolation of Smaug.
Yeah. Okay. Perhaps wasn't the director?
I don't think he was... I think Peter Jackson directed those.
Then I'd still go with like Pan's Labyrinth and the first two Hellboys.
Alright, well, fair enough. There you go.
The Mimic was a pretty close one, and that one, Shape of Water, was kind of intriguing. But we'll see. The other thing I was going to mention about him is he's taken a different approach. A lot of people, when they have like these different monsters and creatures, they make them menacing and like crazy, over the top, and just like killing everything, and not really have like a huge motive behind it. Him, on the other hand, he makes horror almost beautiful, if I can say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
where
I
he
get
like
it.
gives these creatures heart, and like you can see their intentions and why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So he does kind of give them more depth, and that's why I like him. So happy birthday, Del Toro.
Okay. Now, as far as I go, it is also the birthday of John Lennon.
Yes.
Now, a little background history with me and John Lennon. Obviously,
You're Yoko Ono.
Obviously, I was first introduced to him through the Beatles. Now, how I was introduced to them was my mom grew up in the 50s and 60s. And so when the Beatles first came to America, she was right in that age range and loved them. And as it goes, when you grow up, you listen to the music you listened to as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And so she always listened to oldies. She listened to 50s and 60s rock and roll. So, incidentally, that's what I listened to. And so I ended up falling in love with the Beatles. Me and my brother. My oldest brother, or older brother, Andy, who is, at this point, a Beatles encyclopedia. So, yeah.
Do you have a top 3 favorite songs?
Beatles or solo?
That's tricky.
Yeah.
Your dealer's choice.
All right. So, his solo stuff, I would say my top 3 favorite songs of his were number 1, Imagine. I think it's a fantastic song. Has a lot of meaning behind it, and it's very topical, especially today. My number 2 would be... Man, this is a tough one. Watching the Wheels. That's a song about him, kind of answering the criticism that people had of him, like, oh, now you're out of the spotlight, you know, don't you, we know you miss it, we know you miss being, you know, hugely famous or anything. That's kind of his response to it. And then number 3 of his solo stuff, probably Give Peace a Chance. It's a very simple song, but there, again, there's a lot of meaning behind it, and
pretty profound.
Yeah, it's pretty profound. And that's one of the reasons I really like John Lennon. When I was a kid, my favorite Beatle was Paul McCartney. Then when I got older, it became John Lennon, because I appreciated more where he was coming from as far as his songs go. He put a lot more meaning to his songs. They meant more to him, I think, the ones he wrote.
He got away from like some of the more up. I don't know how you'd say it, like kind of the up bop, not teen bop kind of stuff, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like depth to his songs.
Yeah. He, I mean, he's a really complicated guy. Kind of a jerk at times, but he's fascinating. He led a fascinating life. If you have a chance to really learn about John Lennon, I suggest you do. In fact,
yeah,
if you want to learn,
here's the plug.
10 things you probably didn't know about John Lennon. You can go to YouTube and search Celebrity 10s.
That one's actually doing fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's 10s10s, and find my John Lennon video and listen to that one or watch it. But yeah, as far as like influences in my life, a Mount Rushmore of influences in my life, he'd be up there, along with him and Stan Lee.
Yeah,
those two would be up there for sure. So anyway, there you go. Happy birthday, John. Even though you've been dead now since 1980, but still. All right. Speaking of dead people,
yeah, a ghost story.
Yes.
Yeah. This movie just came out on DVD just a couple of days ago, and it was pretty dang interesting. Very stylized. I love the way that they... Well, okay, let me break it down first, what the premise and plot is. Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara.
Yeah.
They're a married couple that kind of live in this small, rundown house that has a lot of heart and character to it. And then he dies, like, right off the bat. And the majority of the film is him walking around in a ghost costume,
like your typical ghost cut, like a sheet with two eye holes. Right.
But it's just like they're darkened, and it was interesting because you wouldn't think you could convey a lot of emotion with that. But the way that he kind of moves and some of the different mannerisms, and he does occasionally use his hands, but it's still underneath that, you know, like that cloak or the the garment, whatever you want to call it. He goes around and he goes through time, not kind of linear, and you get to see the house when it was first created. You get to see and understand all of these different normal things that we just kind of take for granted, you know, when the lights flicker or when you hear a creak or like a book fall off the shelf, that there's actually something behind it.
Yeah.
It was an interesting take on what happens in the afterlife, because he's confronted when he first dies and he's in the hospital and he first takes on this ghost persona, because he just, like, he sits up, he's dead, and he's got this thing drawn over the top of him because they've already identified the body. He like sits up and walks towards this door, and you can either go through this light, but he decides to go left down this other hallway. So he's kind of drawn back and proceeds to walk across these fields to his house because he's attached to this house. There, it is artsy and it is kind of drawn out at some scenes. There is one scene where Rooney, she ends up eating this pie. She's sitting on the floor, and it's interesting. And this is like, because it was a Sundance film, but she's sitting there and she starts eating this pie that like her sister or somebody had brought to her, and she's sitting there and eating it and eating it and eating it. And at first I was just like, okay, like I'm ready for it to go to the next scene.
Right.
All right. Where are we going? Because they do kind of a cut where it's not your typical kind of fade into 10 years later or 2 years later. They don't specify that. They just cut the scene and then go to another part. Which actually seemed to work in this movie. But she's sitting there and she's eating this pie, and then after like 5 minutes, she just like quickly stands up and throws up in the bathroom. And at first I was thinking, well, that was kind of like drawn out one of those Family Guy over the top scenes that just take, you know what I mean? Like they just go on longer than they should.
Yeah.
But then I got thinking about it and just like, I kind of first wondered what he was thinking, because I'm sure he wishes like, because you can see the ghost just kind of standing there and not moving at all, watching her, and which the framing is fantastic throughout the whole entire movie. Plus, they did this really cool job where it almost looks like Polaroids, like the whole movie is filmed this way, where it looks like just Polaroid after Polaroid. But anyways, he's standing there, and then you start thinking, if you ever lost a loved one, he's probably wishing, I wish I could be there to comfort her. And then she's probably just thinking, I just kind of want to eat just to like feel something, whether it's to feel full or to feel like these different flavors or something. And like, once you start like looking at it and like, you start to appreciate it a little bit more. So it hit pretty close to home. That you think that you're, there alone in these certain moments as like the world's passing you by, but you're, I don't know.
You're actually in the same room as Casey Affleck.
Yes, we're standing there watching you, which, oh man, there's this other scene where he's communicating with a ghost that's in the house next door.
Yeah.
It's just eerie. Like, because you don't know what, they're talking back and forth to each other a little bit, like conveying like, hi, hello, like, and then it was the director that was actually underneath this other woman ghost. And you could tell it was a woman ghost because it had like kind of a flowery, ornate looking pattern on the bed sheet.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of interesting because it was just like, I'm waiting for somebody, but I don't know who. And it kind of like looked all somber. And then actually once it finally did get to one point, it just kind of like the whole cloak just dropped and it disappeared. I don't know. It's worth watching if you don't mind like these artsy movies. It does move a little bit slow, but it's one of those movies that will stay with you for a while, nonetheless. Out of 5 pies, I would probably give it a solid 3.5. Yeah, it's sitting at like 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes.
I can imagine the director was like, with the pie, like, in this scene, the pie represents our life as a whole.
Yeah.
And how we have to take in all of our life before we can...
Don't ruin it for me, Troy. Don't ruin this movie for me.
Before we can eject it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just what it sounds like to me.
It was a Sundance film, and it's kind of funny because the director, he was saying, I didn't watch the commentary of it, but I did watch like an interview on YouTube, because I needed some help explaining the ending.
Right.
So I was like looking at that, and he was talking about it, but then he went on to say that he had submitted about 14 different Sundance films before finally one was accepted, and then he did this one where he only had about like 20 something people, including Casey Affleck, who agreed to be on the project, because he kept it low under the radar and didn't really tell anybody about this one, because if it was a flop, he wanted it to be kind of more of a personal flop. And the way that he thought of this idea for this movie is, he would just moved apartments. So he was thinking about how, a part of you is kind of left behind at these different places. So, and it's difficult, like change is pretty difficult. So there's quite a few different themes.
Sounds pretentious. The pie is a literal slice of life. Anyway. Alright. There you go, if you want to go check that one out, I guess.
Get your art on.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I need some advice on, because I don't know what happened here.
Okay.
So, those who have a PlayStation, PS4, you have a PlayStation Plus account, you have your PlayStation... Which is a
paid subscription.
Yeah. You have your PlayStation account, basically. And you can add money to that account.
Wallet?
Yeah, to your digital wallet, and that helps you buy games and DLCs and stuff like that.
Which I'm all about doing that. Like, I'll go to like GameStop and these other places and purchase those things because I'd rather not put my credit card on file with so much identity theft and fraud going on. That's just a safer route.
So, I get email
notifications
with my PlayStation account. Like, if I purchase something, it says thanks for your transaction, stuff
even
like that.
Even if it's a free game, it'll still do that.
It'll still say it. So today, on my lunch break, I clicked into my email and I found this. Wallet transaction notification, funds added. So it says, Dear Troy, the requested funds have been added to your Sony Entertainment Network wallet.
Requested.
Yeah. The transaction details are provided below for your records. So it gives my online ID, it gives an order number, date purchased, charge method, which is my Visa card, by the way.
Yeah.
And then funds added to wallet, $26.75.
That is an odd random amount, not like it's all like $20 or something.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know where this came from. I don't know how it's in my account.
Yeah.
Like I said, it gave me my charge method was my Visa card, so I went and checked my account, my bank account, nothing.
Yeah.
$26.75 hadn't been taken out from it. I don't know where this came from.
The only thing that I could think of while I was thinking about this is if you did add on because when I did, I got like a PlayStation Plus membership. It said like, hey, we had some issues, so we're going to extend your PlayStation Plus account for another like week and a half. Like, sorry for the inconvenience when it was down because they were doing some work on the site. But other than that, I've never had anything of this.
Right, it's so bizarre, and it says that the date purchased was the 8th, which was yesterday, which was Sunday. I wasn't on the PlayStation at all. On Sunday. I was working. So I don't...
You're a little hesitant to spend it because then you're like... then they're like, hey, because you spent it, now we're going to withdraw it from your account.
Exactly. Or what if I spend it and it does come out of my account and...
On the other hand, in GTA 5, like occasionally when you log on, it'll say like, hey, congratulations, you get $100,000 added to your wallet.
Yeah.
Just so you can like go buy more cars.
Oh, man. I don't know.
It's one of those.
Some sort of special thing? I don't know. But
But requested, that's what throws me off a little bit.
Yeah.
I suggest a part of me is just like, dude, just spend it. Like, see what happens, before they like take the funds away. The other part of me, because you'd hate to rock the boat if it's one of those like glitches, and it's like free money.
The requested, I don't even know how to request funds.
Yeah.
I've never done that before, so the only thing I can think of is maybe it had something to do with okay, so I put in my Battlefront game.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I have a season pass to it, and for some reason, the stuff I downloaded on my season pass wasn't there.
Okay.
So I went back in and kind of re-downloaded stuff and kind of, updated the game and all that, but that's all I did. And I think I did that Saturday. I don't think I did that yesterday. So...
But you would have seen something
I
in your
don't
transaction where it says like, hey, we took money away because you purchased these new things, but then we realized, oh wait, you have a season pass, so then we put that money back in and giving you that money back?
Yeah, well, maybe it was that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But all I know is currently I have 2675 sitting in my wallet currently.
I'm thinking in my head, and it's like, well, there's about 3 games out there that I could suggest that you might like that are about that price.
Then I'm also thinking, well, Injustice 2, I can download like Fighter Pack or something.
Yeah.
Get a couple more characters.
Right? Huh.
I'm throwing it out there to those listening. Has this ever happened to you before? And if so, let me know what you did with it, or did it resolve itself, or what it turned out to be. I would say email.
Mm-hmm.
Email
Anytime,
me.
day or night.
Yeah. At worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, just shoot me an email and let me know, because I'm really curious.
Yeah.
Chances are I'll probably end up spending it, but yeah. Just curious if this has happened to anybody else. So anyway. All right, here's where you can find us. You can listen to all of our episodes at worldwarg.podbean.com. We're also on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Just search World War G. On the social media, you can find us at facebook.com/worldwargpodcast. We're also on Twitter and Instagram. Just search at WWG Podcast. We've actually been a little more active on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah.
You can buy our t-shirts and other merchandise at shop.spreadshirt.com/worldwarg. You can also email us anytime,
day or night,
at worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. So, this has been World War G episode 147. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
Stay geeky, my friends.